Australian Aviation Podcast, the official podcast of Australian Aviation, unpacking the latest insights, developments and issues impacting Australia's aviation sector.
Hello, I'm Jake Nelson. Welcome to the Australian Aviation Podcast. Joining me, as usual, are my two co-hosts, the Deputy Editor of Cyber Daily, who has never been proven not to be DB Cooper, David Hollingworth.
I won't say anything that may incriminate myself.
And our graduate journalist, Bethany Alvaro.
Hello.
Welcome, both of you, to the show. It's a good thing that you weren't travelling over the weekend, because you might not be here if you were.
Yeah, because I thought, I had some, little trouble issues, but boy, were they nothing.
Yeah, and apparently one of our production team, Aman, was caught up in basically all of it.
Wait, he was, the software outage and the fire, he was involved.
Yes. Yeah, so apparently, and Aman's sort of standing over there nodding.
He's now nodding at us quietly. Shut the hell up right now.
Yeah, so apparently he was in Melbourne when the Melbourne Airport Qantas terminal caught fire on Friday.
Okay, I've got one question. How did I miss this?
Yeah, I can't say
I know
really...
how we missed it. We were at the Defence Connect Christmas party and drinking a lot of martinis.
True. I was going to say...
We probably could have missed a lot of things, frankly, the volume of martinis we drank.
Quite possibly. Yeah, I was looking over the weekend at all of these things going wrong, and I'm like, that's a Monday thing. That's a matter for Monday.
Also, what's hilarious is I don't know if you heard this during the week. Jake is sitting there going, there's not enough news. Goes home on the weekend. Oh,
everything happens.
Okay, fine,
yep.
fine.
Yeah, I was wishing too hard. It came back to bite me. But okay, so there was a fire at Melbourne Airport in the Qantas terminal on Friday, which led to long queues of planes literally lined up on the tarmac waiting to get into the airport, delays of several hours. Once that got sorted out, on Saturday, Airbus pushed out this software update, this urgent software update to a whole lot of 6,000 A320s or something like that, which was basically to prevent the recurrence of an incident that happened on a JetBlue flight in October, where if Airbus is to be believed, solar radiation interfered with the software.
Are they blaming the sun?
Yeah, I was going to say, how does that work?
I remember there's a lot of solar radiation up in the air.
Well, apparently, bits got flipped that weren't supposed to be flipped by these rays or something. And,
okay.
Yeah, and so this aircraft abruptly pitched down all by itself, which it was not supposed to do. So Airbus pushed out this update to all its A320s, and Jetstar uses a fleet of almost entirely A320s. Yeah. And this was both the classic, the A320 CEO, which is the classic engine options, and the A320 Neos, which is the new engine options. So a hefty chunk of Jetstar's fleet was basically taken out of commission.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, amazing, not in a good way, but I mean, amazing
in
that
interesting
such a thing
way.
could even happen.
So Jetstar has 85 aircraft in the A320-21 family. 34 needed this update. So I think something like 90 Jetstar flights over the weekend were cancelled or disrupted. This also hit Air New Zealand, by the way, because they have a very substantial A320 fleet. Qantas and Virgin do have a handful of A320s between them, but they were not affected. So
not enough to cause that level of disruption.
Yeah. I don't think any of Qantas or Virgin's A320s needed the update. Now, this had all been sorted out by 8:30 a.m. on Sunday at Jetstar and 4:15 p.m. on Sunday afternoon at Air New Zealand, which was good. So that was all sorted out on Sunday, and then the nationwide passport processing system went down, and so on Sunday...
Was a man using his passport at the same time?
We can't rule it out. But yeah, nationwide, the passport system went down, and so international passengers, both inbound and outbound, had to have their passports processed manually by Border Force officers.
I mean, I shouldn't laugh. There is every possibility that there is some poor traveller out there that got hit by all three of these things.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Trying to fly from Melbourne to Sydney.
Mom, sir, or whoever, we salute you and your perseverance.
Yeah, this poor person who showed up to fly from Melbourne to domestically on Friday night, Got caught up, got bumped to a Jetstar flight on Saturday only for the A320 to be out of commission, finally manages to get to their port of departure, and the passport system goes down.
I've had some bad travel things happen in my time, but that would be wild.
Yeah.
Well, there was this one bloke in Japan in 1945
Okay.
who got
Right,
caught.
interesting
I think
start.
he got caught in the Hiroshima
I
bombing.
was going to say, this is...
Yeah, I was like,
Okay,
where is this gonna
yeah,
go?
alright.
He got caught in the Hiroshima bombing, and he survived, and he went home to Nagasaki.
Oh.
Oh no.
Yeah, so I think I don't know if he was the only person to have survived both atomic bombings in Japan.
Was he the target? Anyway.
But
So this is wild. So I just need to understand exactly what happened here. Are you saying that, like, at some point during the weekend, Jetstar pilots get into the cabin, like, go for engine start, and there's an update bar going across the radio screen?
well, I think it's like
I know it's not like that, but
Imagine if it was.
yeah, it's like a Tesla or something. Or it's like, there's all these people in America who have been complaining that, like, their internet enabled grills were needed software updates in Thanksgiving or something, which is, why would you need an internet connected grill? But anyway,
yeah.
So yeah, this whole Jetstar situation, the Airbus had basically put out this software update as quickly as possible because they did not want that JetBlue thing happening again. Why would you? And so huge amount of Airbus A320s affected worldwide, and that's a problem because the Airbus A320 family is, I think, one of the most, if not the most popular passenger aircraft type in the world.
6,000 worldwide affected.
6,000 worldwide affected. Yeah, there's a lot of A320s out there. But I think this is it's interesting that it's kind of the flip side of, so if you're running an airline, you kind of have to choose, do you want a more diverse fleet with a lot of different aircraft types, or do you want to sort of stick mainly with the one aircraft type?
Yeah.
So Virgin Australia, for example, before the pandemic and before they went into administration, had a pretty sort of diverse fleet. During the administration, they got rid of most of their aircraft types, and they just stuck with the 737s. Vara's got a couple of the Fokkers that they're phasing out, and there's a couple of A320s over in WA that Vara uses. But if you have a big and diverse fleet, it adds complexity and adds cost.
However,
Yeah.
it protects you from this kind of thing.
Exactly.
True.
So,
Yeah.
like, one of the reasons that Ansett came a cropper, I mean, there were a few reasons, but one of the reasons was that Ansett had a big fleet with a lot of different types of planes.
Yeah.
And so they had to train their pilots on a bunch of different planes. They had to have parts ready for a bunch of different planes. They, needed certifications for a bunch of different kinds of planes. And all of these different kinds of planes, pushed
Engineers, mechanics.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so that's another reason why Virgin Australia was in trouble. And so slimming down, if you only have one or two types of aircraft in your fleet, then you can you only have to train and engineers and all of that on those couple of aircraft types. But then if something like this happens, if all the A320s in the world are suddenly going screwy and need a software update, suddenly you're between a rock and a hard place, right?
That's wow. Yeah.
So it's sort of like, how do you balance that?
And so I'm guessing this update must have been pushed out very fast with
Oh, yeah.
almost no warning to.
Yeah, I'm surprised
air
there's
operators.
not some kind of warning for that.
Well, I'm figuring there are some things where you can't afford to give warnings.
Yeah.
And planes falling out of the sky might be one of them where you go, okay, this is going to cause some issues, some operational disruptions, but it's worth it not to have our planes falling out of the sky.
Yeah.
Is that
because
what I'm seeing here?
Yeah, it's like I was talking actually right before this podcast. I recorded a podcast with Captain Richard de Crepney, who was the captain of QF-32, the infamous incident over just after leaving Singapore where the A380 engine exploded, got it back on the ground, no injuries, no fatalities, absolutely incredible story. Listen out for that over the Christmas break, by the way.
We got to have a brief chat with him. The dude just seems calm.
Yeah.
He was very calm.
Yeah. I mean, once you go through something like that,
Yeah.
there's not a lot that'll phase you.
Yeah.
But Richard de Crepney was saying, he gives Airbus full credit for for not messing around with this, right? For not like the Boeing 737 MAX 8 incidents. Boeing.
I was going to talk about Boeing actually. This is a wonderful comparison of how to manage. There might be an issue with their aircraft.
Yeah.
It might be. Screw it. We are going to update. We're going to deal with it. We don't care what minor disruptions it causes compared to possible loss of life. Or, I don't know, we put an aircraft out there with the doors fall off.
Well, it's not. This was not the MAX 9 incident where the door blew off. This was the MAX 8 incidents, the Ethiopian and was it Lion Air? It was so like there was an issue with the software on the 737 MAX 8. It's all very complicated, but the engines were bigger, and so there had to be some software to compensate for the plane, tending to pitch up, and it was pitching. The software makes it pitch down to sort of compensate. But that went screwy, right?
Yeah.
And
there's like one small part that ices over and doesn't deliver the right.
No, well, this was purely a software issue.
Software, okay.
And so so a plane crash, massive loss of life, right? Boeing sort of, I think they knew about this issue, and they promised to fix it, but they didn't really fix it fast enough, and so this second MAX 8 crashed for the same reason.
Yeah.
And so that was a definite, a huge no.
I don't know, like how there's no like something in place that if something happens, you need to like assess all of them. If it's like the one model of plane, you know what I mean?
Well, see, the thing is like. There are so many A320s in operation worldwide, and there are so many 737s in operation worldwide. It's kind of unrealistic to be grounding an entire fleet.
Yeah, true.
Now, that said, the MAX 8 was relatively new at the time, so the MAX 8s should have been grounded. But if something goes wrong with a 737-800, there's so many 737-800s around the world. And, we talked about this with the Air India Dreamliner crash, right? Way earlier in the year. That 787-8 Dreamliner that went down in India, we don't yet know what the cause of that was, but there are so many 787s in operation around the world that grounding them would cause absolute havoc, particularly when we don't know why the plane went down in the first place. When QF32 happened, all the A380s in the world were grounded, but the A380 was a reasonably new aircraft, and not a lot of people had a bunch of A380s.
Yeah.
Right? So, that was a lot easier to do, but grounding, every 737 or every A320 in the world would be impractical.
Yeah.
So that would be the reason why. It's absolutely wild and chaotic weekend.
Yeah.
And our hearts go out to Armin, who was caught up in two of those. And if you were caught up in all three of those, we would love to hear you.
Oh, yeah, true.
We'll get you on the podcast. We'll never talk about your very bad, no good travel day.
Yeah, it's that would not have been fun to deal with. So that was what happened over the weekend.
God, what a weekend.
What a weekend. But we've had a few other stories come in over the course of the week. There was an interesting story that came out of the ATSB that talks about something we don't talk about a lot, which is hot air balloons.
Oh, no.
I saw that.
No.
Yeah.
I hate hot air balloons.
Have you been in a hot air balloon?
No, and I don't want to. That's like one of my biggest fears. 100%.
This story will not help with that fear.
I read it before.
Just the headline alone. I mean, I can't say I was thinking, I've not been in a hot air balloon. Or
I
now
put that
I am
on the
thinking,
list. Yeah.
I've not been in a hot air balloon.
No, I don't think I've been in a hot air balloon either.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure you'd remember it.
So apparently, according to the ATSB, the ATSB released a study. They examined 79 balloon occurrences. So that's minor right up to sort of major accidents between 2014 and 2022, and they found that ballooning carried a substantially higher risk to passengers than flights in other aircraft, landing being the trickiest phase. So according to Chief Commissioner Angus Mitchell, on a per-flight basis, ballooning was more likely to have a serious incident or accident and more likely to have a passenger injury than equivalent operations in small aeroplanes and helicopters. So a serious incident or accident 8.9 times more likely to occur on a commercial balloon flight than on a joy flight or a charter flight in an airplane. 25.6 times more likely than in a helicopter. You are 34.7 times more likely to sustain an injury in a balloon flight than on an airplane, and 58.5% more likely than in a helicopter. Now, fortunately, no fatalities for ballooning were reported during the period. So, according to this report, the increased injury risk is likely because you are in an open basket. You are not
strapped in.
Yeah, exactly.
The flame.
Yeah. You don't,
Isn't the flame like
open
right
flame,
above your head?
Yeah.
It doesn't have wheels when it lands. It can definitely drag.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
skip along the ground, as this one
Exactly.
happened.
Yeah,
As this
and
one
it
thing happened in
spills people
Queensland.
out
Ew.
of the gondola.
Oh my god, I hate the idea of that. Yeah.
I hate to say this, but the more I'm talking about it, the more I'm like, yeah, I want to go up in a hot air balloon.
Really?
I don't know why
I
it's
could
making me
never
want to
do
do
it.
it, but it really is.
I don't think you could pay me to go on a hot air balloon. No way.
Yeah, so
if you're
it's-
listening, you can absolutely pay me to go in a hot air balloon. Yeah.
Well, listen. With the money that you would have paid Bethany, pay David double.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then I can report back on the experience here.
Yeah.
I can
That's such a good
record
idea.
a podcast from the gondola of hot air balloon
Yeah.
and report on how safe I feel.
That's such a good
Not
idea.
Very.
Yeah, we just-
I'm terrified of
We
heights.
just said, welcome to the Australian Aviation Podcast. We're joined by David Hollingworth, who has been up in a hot air balloon. So, David, talk me through all of the elements of the traction that you are currently in.
None.
Yeah, so how comfortable is that neck
Not
brace?
very.
It's amazing that you can move your arms. So yes, this is from the available injury information said the ATSB. The majority of these accident injuries in balloons consisted of lower limb injuries from terrain collisions, so you crash into the ground
Lower
and
limb
injure your legs or
injuries.
something, and also flail type injuries from passengers colliding
Oh my
with each other.
God.
So you
Flail
get
type.
flung around inside the hot air balloon and smack into someone else, and you both get injured.
Everybody act like we're on the bridge of Starship.
Yeah, there's not enough sparks flying around for that. So yeah, hot air balloons, not the safest mode of air travel.
But
I
I
wouldn't
do like
think
this.
so.
We encourage all ballooning operators and pilots to review this material from the perspective of their operations. Consider how they can best ensure the safety of their passengers and aircraft.
Great point. Thanks for that.
But that's hot air ballooning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't remove any aspect of what hot air ballooning is. You're in a basket underneath an open flame, prey to the vagaries of wind and terrain.
Well, wind is apparently the most common cause
Yeah.
of these accidents, which makes a lot of sense. So almost half, so 35 cited wind as a factor, including 8 serious incidents and 5 accidents. And balloons travel by moving with the wind, and the pilots control the balloon by using differing wind directions at different altitudes. And this incident that happened near Bow Desert, basically this balloon was landing in foggy conditions. It got blown off course, skipped several times along the ground before coming to a stop, and the envelope
my
got tangled
God.
in a dead tree.
Oh my god.
But according to the
Really wanna do this
ATSB, there were comprehensive passenger safety briefings. So the passengers adopted the brace positions, and that likely prevented injuries. So if you are a hot air balloon operator, make sure that you communicate effectively to your passengers. I think that's what the
Yeah.
that's what the
Please
ATSB is
read
saying.
the air safety card and the seat back.
What's feedback?
Yeah, get the flight attendants to just sort of buckle the seatbelts as you're taking
Yeah.
off in the
I mean, this does sound actually horrifying. You will, yeah. The report was released alongside an ATSB occurrence investigation to a hot air balloon accident near Bow Desert. We saw a cabin get blown off course while landing in foggy conditions. And I know that's what you're talking
my
about. But
God.
foggy conditions?
Yeah.
It's horrifying.
Imagine going up and it's like, oh, it's fun, and then you go down and you can't see anything because it's foggy, and you know that
Look, what you don't know can't hurt you.
yeah,
Unless
true.
it's the ground. Coming up at you really fast.
as quite a few pilots have discovered, unfortunately. But it's you. I think some of the key takeaways from this report is that you need accurate weather assessment.
Yeah.
You need to anticipate risks like power lines, poor visibility. You need to
Power lines.
I mean, you could get caught in power
How
lines.
could you collide with a? Wouldn't they be
If the
on
wind blows you into a power line, there's
my
not a lot.
God.
No, we're not really helping you out.
this? Yeah. Never gonna go on one.
The next Christmas party for the website, we're going for a hot air balloon.
I'll be sick that day.
I don't blame
You
you.
go up in the hot air balloon.
But yeah, you need to anticipate risks like power lines and poor visibility. You need to prioritize safety over logistical pressures in adverse conditions, says Angus Mitchell from the ATSB, which is good advice.
Yeah.
And if you want to prioritize your safety, maybe don't go up in a hot air balloon.
Yeah.
We support
I'll
the hot
follow
air
that
balloon industry
advice.
here. No cap.
We support the hot air balloon industry, but don't go up in them if you're not absolutely sure that it's safe. On that note, before we get sued by hot air balloon manufacturers, we're going to go for our first quick break. We'll be back in a moment. All right, welcome back. You're listening to the Australian Aviation Podcast in the brief window of time before the hot air balloon lobby comes down hard on top of us, like that hot air balloon
Look,
did
it's likely
in Queensland.
if they do, it's likely they'll miss us anyway. So
Yeah,
I'm not too worried.
it's more at risk if you're inside the hot air balloon than the hot air balloon coming down on top of us. Anyway, we've had a few other stories come through this week. Bethany, you had a story about Apache helicopters.
Yes.
We've been sort of getting we've got these new Apache helicopters in, and they've taken flight for the first time.
Yeah.
Talk us a bit about that.
So it was in Townsville, and they were delivered in September. We've got 4 of them. And yeah, they had their first flying operation. And it's a big thing because the defense is like really trying to uplift their aviation capabilities. So Commander of Army Aviation, Major General David Hafner, said the commencement of the AH-64E Apache. Is it Apache? I thought it was Apache.
No, Apache.
Yeah,
Apache,
see, this is the issue when you're writing. You don't get the pronunciation.
It's
Well, all you got to do is listen to that song over and over again, and you'll get it. You
What
know,
song?
Apache, jump on it, jump on
I
it,
don't
jump
know that
on it.
one.
No,
You know, if we don't say anything, you might just keep singing.
Yeah. Anyway,
it's nobody.
But yeah, Apache,
Nobody here has heard that song, and I find it extraordinary because people cover Apache helicopters here all the time.
Yeah.
Anyway, you were talking about
Anyways,
Apache helicopters.
he said, flying operations is a tremendous achievement for the Army and Defence Aviation Enterprise, which is currently undertaking a generational uplift in Army's battlefield aviation capability. So it's quite they're really just looking to expand aviation in the Army, not the Air Force.
Oh yeah.
So
Army,
it's a bit
Army
different
aviation
there.
is its own thing. I mean, during World War II, there was no United States Air Force. It was the USAAF, United States Army Air Force.
There
and
you
it was
go.
only after that the Air Force went, look, we
should be our own
we want
thing.
comfier food, better beds, comfier
Yeah.
food. And
Hey, you could have comfier
you
food.
could have comfier food. And they split off, and that's why people make fun of the American Air Force to
Yeah.
this day. But yeah, Army aviation, because it works in close support with Army units on the ground. And if there's one thing you want working really, really well with your troops on the ground, it's helicopter support.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's 1,300 operating in 19 defense forces around the world, including like the US, the UK, Netherlands, Japan, a lot of very advanced militaries.
It's really interesting because
And we've only got 4 of
It's one of
them.
those technologies that people keep saying, oh, is the time of the attack helicopter over? No, it's just we need to work out how to use it better, properly,
Yeah.
and against different opponents.
Exactly.
And in a
Yeah.
lot of ways, the Australian top end is perfect for helicopter operations. You can see
Yeah.
forever.
Literally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty much.
And there's other helicopter. It's not just attack helicopters that you need. You need support and cargo helicopters
Yeah.
and transports and all of that.
Taipans. No.
No, not not Taipans, not anymore. But I mean, we had a story a few weeks back on the podcast. I think Bethany, you might remember. Was that you? Was that you here on the podcast? Was it you, David? Or was it
I'm
both
not
of you
sure.
about lifting boulders?
Yes, that's yep. I was there. Yep.
I don't know if I was there. Oh, no, I was there. It was at the end.
Yeah. It was
Yes.
for a dam.
Yeah, damn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was there for that. I remember.
And they did a damn good job.
Oh, good one.
Thank you. Good news for the Apache fleet. And I think they're transitioning away from the Tiger as well, aren't they?
Yes. Yeah. I think it's all just about, my expert opinion. It's just like advancing what we have and getting new stuff.
But also getting a reliable and well-supported platform. Like, as you said, the Apache is operated all over the world. It means that we can plug our Apaches into allied formations. And we know that, same parts, same training, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It just is a streamlining move.
Yeah, it's just good for allied defense and Australia's own defense. So, yeah.
As we need to up our spending
Yeah.
Yeah. And
That's a whole
Apache's
separate.
not cheap.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of new technology
Uh-oh.
in aviation.
Oh, yeah, okay. I know what you're talking about. It's going to be great. We love
Yeah.
AI here.
Virgin Australia is partnering with OpenAI to allow users to search for flights using ChatGPT.
Yep. Yeah, look, I know this is a sad day for you. For those who haven't been paying attention, I don't know how often AI comes up in the
Aviation world.
aviation podcast,
Yeah.
but Jake is not a fan.
I'm not. No. I mean, I spoke earlier this year about this guy who was brought the Ansett brand back as an AI powered travel website.
You were vocal about that in the office.
Oh yeah. So okay.
Look, okay, you breathe it through. I'm
Yeah.
just going to read out some of what Virgin Chief Executive Dave Emerson said
Yep.
of the move. We're laser focused on making the travel journey. I mean, travel journey seems overdoing it, but more wonderful. And that starts with planning and the flight search experience by being present where our customers already are, such as ChatGPT. We're making it easier and more convenient to connect with Virgin Australia. We've been applying advanced analytics and AI across various parts of our business for many years, and this collaboration with OpenAI marks an important step forward, the next stage of our digital transformation. So, what exactly is ChatGPT doing in this?
So apparently,
Maybe you want to answer this.
Yeah. I think it's more about like trip planning and finding flights and comparing flights. It's not, well, from what I understand, it's not like it's going to be, on the screens. You can just use ChatGPT.
ChatGPT
I know, imagine that. I think that could make a flight, like a long flight, go pretty
Let's
quick.
just get really pro AI to make really sad and angry. So it's more about like you can go into ChatGPT, start planning inside of ChatGPT your next flight, and you'll end up in the Bahamas instead of Britain
before you
or
know
Bahrain,
it. Yeah.
as it hallucinates and gets you in the wrong destination.
So according to Virgin, customers will be able to describe the travel they need or the trip they wish to take and then be directed to the most relevant Virgin Australia flight options.
Jake's really excited.
You know
about
what's
this.
interesting about this? I feel
What
like
is interesting about this,
I
Bethany?
feel like it's almost. I mean, I don't know who uses travel agents anymore, but I'm sure people do.
I wonder that every time I
Yeah.
walk past an actual travel agent.
Every time I see it, I'm like, who's going there? But I'm sure people do.
No offense to the old people. Listening to old people. Yeah.
The old generation. Well, this might not help them then, because I was going to say this is like going to be replacing travel agents, but I don't really know how accepting, not accepting, but how digitally literate
I think
the old generations are with this.
See, I think the travel agents are very useful if you're planning a trip. I mean, a travel agent will try to get you the best deal, and they will try to a travel agent knows their way around booking travel in a way that just you on your computer or on ChatGPT might not.
Well, maybe ChatGPT will know now. That's the
ChatGPT doesn't know anything.
Sorry, my bad.
ChatGPT pretends to know things.
Yeah.
Okay. No. Refocus. Travel agents.
Yes.
And I mean, there's no sort of cost to you from using a travel agent beyond, the booking fees and everything, because travel agents work on commission, right?
Yeah.
So I think travel agents are always going to be useful and always going to have a place. It's just, and I think it's good to have that human factor.
I think so
when
as
when you're
well.
booking a trip, it's good to be able to sit down across from an actual travel agent and say, this is what I want, this is what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
And have the travel agent be able to point you to real booking deals that exist, as opposed to something that a computer has made up.
Yeah, I've
So I'm
never
guessing
been
this
to a.
happening now.
I don't think so. I
Is
think
it
it's.
live yet?
No, I don't
think it's rolling
live
out
yet.
later.
They've been sort of testing and tweaking with
Yeah.
some things, but they've definitely set up this partnership. Why does AI have to sort of ram it? Why does ChatGPT and all of these LLMs have to ram their way into just everything?
I agree with that.
I know why. I know why. It's because there's so much money tied up in it, and if everyone stopped using it, then the economy would collapse. But
I don't know. I don't think I would use it, but I also haven't ever been to like an actual travel agent. So I mean, I think it's fun.
Of
I like
travel
booking and
is
looking around.
going, and not just using WebJet, although it's a great starting point, but just the whole thing. I love.
I always
putting together
go
my
on
own itinerary.
like the airlines websites.
Yeah,
Which
yeah.
I don't know if that's the best way, but
I
that's
mean,
just what I
oddly,
do.
I did just log on to ChatGPT here. I was curious. And I said, can you help me organising a trip to Virgin Airlines? And it's actually come up with, it's come up with a lot of suggestions, a lot of ideas. And has then said, look, I can help plan and I can pull up some itinerary options. And it's already using, let's have a look, various Virgin Australia websites, Virgin Atlantic, Velocity Frequent Flyer, because it shows you the sources it's using, Flight Centre UK. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
Well, see, did you say Virgin Airlines or Virgin Australia?
I said Virgin Airlines.
Yeah, so Virgin Airlines, you might have confused it a little because
right,
Virgin Airlines also includes Virgin Atlantic.
I think that this is just my take on AI. I think that as much as I'm not a fan of it either, I think that we're going to have to start being a bit more accepting of it because it's going to be everywhere. And before you know it, it's like if you're not on board, then you're left out. And I mean, that's not saying like use generative AI for your work or for everyday stuff. But I think that it is kind of important to know what's going on with it.
We could have our own entire podcast of this, and I'm sure we will shortly. Yeah.
But I'm still on the record saying that I am against it.
Yeah.
But I think that it's important that, we see that the change is happening. And
I think with the advantage of AI in this kind of instance is the AI, and it's not really an AI, it's a chat bot. But
that's another thing that these chatbots have done, right? They've ruined the term AI.
True.
Yep, okay, fair enough. Yep. Anyway, to stop him from being angry anymore. The advantage is it's working on a set of established data. Like, there's limits into. I mean, I'm sure it could possibly hallucinate in some way, but if all it's doing is checking itineraries on your behalf, I don't see it as a necessarily bad thing. But at the same time, is Virgin trying to jump on the AI bandwagon?
Yeah.
Well, it's like what else? Like who else will do it next? Maybe
look,
Qantas will start doing it.
Yeah, I mean, most companies are doing it. Momentum Media is doing it.
Yeah.
It's hard to get away from.
Or maybe they'll get our idea and start doing it on the screens.
Yeah,
I actually think that would be kind of fun. I can't lie.
I mean, on a 24-hour flight, I can imagine at some point I'm going to like, you know what, I'm going to talk to the chatbot.
Maybe you could do like a game
plane.
with it. Yeah, I want to talk to the
chatbot
plane.
about what?
I don't know.
Maybe you could do like a game, like guess heads or tails, like a guessing game. I feel like it could.
Good topic of conversation for a long flight.
Or anything political.
I think we're revolutionizing our podcast. We can just do it with the chatbot. It's going to be great. On a long
I hate
flight.
this.
Yeah, I know. It's why I'm so amused. Here's some reliably good, low-risk, non-awkward conversation
Low-risk.
that work well on long flights, assuming the other person wants to chat. Travel plans, destinations and recommendations, movies, books or shows. Work in a gentle way.
Ooh.
I love that
See,
one.
that
And
can
in
get boring.
parentheses, in a gentle way.
Yeah.
Hobbies, travel tips, the flight itself. And then there's great advice here. If the conversation is flowing well, latest tech or gadgets, places on your bucket list, good podcasts.
There you go. Oh.
You can absolutely bring up this one. That'd be marvelous.
True.
Topics to avoid on planes, politics, religion, money, very personal questions.
Why?
Health issues.
I think that's a good thing. You
anything
can keep
negative
going.
about flying itself.
You could go on
There
and
you are.
on and on and on about those. That will get the time
Have you
going.
been in a balloon crash recently? I hear they're really not safe.
Yeah, it's a good thing we're on a plane and not a balloon. Hey, did you hear they've got the chatbot flying the plane now? That should be fine.
I mean, look,
should be
90% of all air travel, especially on a jetliner, is automated.
True.
Yeah, it's hello, this is your Captain ChatGPT speaking. Today we'll be flying to Regretsnefluft.
Yeah.
Oh, excellent. I can't wait to go to Ratchnefluft. Yeah. This is great.
Our plane, as a matter of interest, we are flying at negative 37,000 feet, and this plane has 5 engines.
Awesome. Love.
I'm sorry. I've got to hand it to ChatGPT here.
You don't.
Start light. If they keep giving short answers, they want quiet. If they start storytelling, you've got a great seat, mate.
There you go.
I mean, this is all sensible stuff, and as someone who's travelled a lot, yeah, that's what you learn. But it's actually not bad advice for a first-time traveller.
I reckon it should be
Anyway,
all political, all religion-based, all personal opinions,
Chatting
and then
about plane crashes.
yeah. Oh yeah, that's a good start.
Yeah, excellent. Okay, never travel with Bethany. Anyway, before Jake kills us both.
Yes.
On a topic that isn't this.
Yeah.
Maybe they should ask ChatGPT about this because SmartLinks Australia, who you might remember, rebranded from Skytrans earlier this year. I think we discussed on the first podcast that you appeared on back during our Game of Thorns. SmartLinks, which has been painting all of its planes white and getting rid of that Skytrans branding, is going to be rebranding again. And this is after less than a year, by the way, as SmartLinks Australia. So, for a bit of background, last year SmartLinks rebranded from... not last year. SmartLinks... Skytrans at the time was purchased by Aviation Solutions Group, which is this international aviation firm, with the intention of moving it into ACMI, which is wet leasing operations using A319s and Dash 8s. Now, this year... Skytrans was rebranded to SmartLinks Australia. This was in July to bring it more in line with some of Avia's other airlines around the world, including in Europe and Thailand. But SmartLinks Airlines in Latvia...
there you go.
Which is sort of in the ballpark of where Avia is based. Avia offloaded SmartLinks Airlines Latvia. And not long after that, SmartLinks Airlines in Latvia collapsed. Owing, there have been reports, I don't know how true they are, of debts in excess of 238 million euros.
Sounds bad.
Which it does.
Just a bit.
And so I noticed that there was talk of Thai SmartLinks and SmartLinks Australia rebranding. And so I managed to get on to Richard George, who's the Chief Commercial Officer of SmartLinks Australia. And he said that, yes, they will be rebranding again, likely sometime in the new year. So they haven't confirmed what they're going to be rebranding to just yet. They haven't taken anything off the table. They're going to a review as to what the brand is going to be moving forward. I mean, look, I'm not a marketer, but have you considered Skytrans?
I don't know. I don't think it'll fly.
Oh, get it? Fly.
Yeah. It's... I think Skytrans might be a good brand name for SmartLinks Australia. It seemed to work well for a few decades. I don't really know that rebranding Skytrans to SmartLinks Australia was necessary in the first place.
Also, given that, because when I hear SmartLinks, I have a particular spelling of that word, and they've gone with not that. It's Lynx.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I
hate when companies do that, like trying to be different. Just spell it properly, right?
This, by the way, is coming as SmartLinks officially takes over the Lord Howe Island route that QantasLink had been operating.
Lord, how you doing?
Exactly. So they'd been operating these wet lease services to Lord Howe Island for several months. And this came about because Qantas decided, and QantasLink decided to get rid of its smaller Dash 8 fleet and consolidate to all Q400 fleet. And this, had those advantages of newer planes, less complicated maintenance, et cetera, but it also meant that QantasLink would have to stop operating the Lord Howe Island route because the runway at Lord Howe Island Airport is too short for Q400s to land. It has the biggest...
That's a problem.
Yeah, it is a problem.
Just a little bit.
And so these Q200s that Qantas was operating was sort of the largest plane that could land there safely. And so SmartLinks has now taken on these Q200s from Qantas, and they were doing sort of wet leasing for Qantas on that route for a while, but now they will be taking over that route in their own right. So we had the first sort of wet leased, the first proper SmartLinks name to be determined service to Lord Howe Island on Monday, and they will be operating that as a code share service from now on.
Interesting.
There you go.
So yes, SmartLinks Australia will be rebranding, name TBD. Guys, Skytrans is right there. You probably still own it.
Put a copyright on that.
Yeah, you probably still own the trademark. Just go back to Skytrans. I don't think anyone will mind.
No.
We're going to take one more quick break. When we come back, we'll be talking a little bit more about the week's news. We'll be back in a moment. Right, welcome back. You're listening to the Australian Aviation Podcast. Just a couple of quick ones before we go. we've got some predictions by Cirium, the aviation analytics firm, that Australia next month will have a new seat capacity record, driven in no small part by growth in international flights going past pre-COVID ratios of sort of international to domestic seats. So according to Cirium, Australia is going to see 12.2 million scheduled seats in December 2025. 45% of this will be international. And this is a big shift from 2020 where international flights were 42%. Largest international markets by seat capacity are New Zealand and Singapore, followed by Indonesia, China, UAE, US, Hong Kong, Malaysia, Japan, and Qatar. Now, together, Qantas and Jetstar are 29% of Australia's international seat capacity, Singapore Airlines and Air New Zealand at around 7% each. But these top three carriers, Qantas, Jetstar and Singapore, are just 36% of the total international seats that are tracked by Cirium. So the international market into Australia is really highly fragmented in a way that we don't see in the domestic market.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, like, whenever I travel internationally, I don't travel on any of those airlines. Really, I'll usually, mainly because I'm going to either somewhere in Europe, I will travel.
Smartlinks.
Yeah, Smartlinks, exactly. Via Lord Howe Island to Dubai, then London.
Yeah.
So I will travel Qatar or Emirates.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm a Qantas girl. I like Qantas.
I used to be a Qantas, guy, technically, I guess. I like the food on them.
Yeah.
The service is great. I like flying via places like Doha.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, Emirates and Singapore are good airlines.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're in the back of the bus or on the lower, that you wouldn't want to be flying on that one because it's a freighter.
Yeah, no windows in that one.
Yeah, that's Emirates Sky Cargo. That's a 777-200 freighter, I think. You wouldn't want to be flying on that.
You say this.
And you could probably do it cheaper.
True.
And this is coming, by the way. We had a story today that talking about Sydney Airport slots. There's always a couple of stories that I like to throw in that I didn't put in the list just to keep you people on your toes. Sydney Airport takeoff slots. We've had a report or new figures coming out from the Slot Manager Airport Coordination Limited that slot demand is going way up for next year's northern summer season, which is the 6 month from the end of March 2026. They're up 8% over historical slot allocations for the same period. International slot requests approved jumped by 10%, domestic up 7%, freight up 17%. The largest increase of slots of any carrier was Qantas, up 10%, 6,480 slots. Jetstar up 2,750. Virgin up 1,397. Rex grew by 1%. Of the carriers based overseas, Air New Zealand, Asiana, AirAsia X, Malaysia, Etihad, China Southern, Scoot, Sri Lankan, Junyao, and Qatar had the biggest
so everything's
slot growth in Sydney. Yeah.
Wow.
And away.
And according to
Up and away.
Neil Garwood, the CEO of ACL, 91% of slots were allocated at the times requested by the airlines, which is nice. So Garwood said, what we're seeing at Sydney plays out consistently with hub airports around the world, where demand for next year is up versus this year and average aircraft sizes are increasing. We anticipate demand profiles will change slightly as the season approaches and airlines firm up their schedules. At Sydney, about 70% of the available slots have been taken for the northern summer season next year, so we still have ample capacity available. And that's sort of interesting when you consider that, for a while the narrative has always been that Sydney Airport is full to bursting.
Yeah, exactly.
If there's, apparently there's still quite a few slots that are available.
And this is before WSI comes online.
That is before WSI comes online as well. So,
Sky's the limit.
Sky is the limit.
Got the good puns today.
Pretty
quick with them.
Classic.
Yeah.
I'm glad we were able to sort of float some puns. Unfortunately, they were in hot air balloons, so they've come.
Good one.
A couple of quick things. Virgin Australia, going back to Virgin briefly, has slotted in the last of its Doha services from Melbourne. I'm not sure why Melbourne took so much longer than because Sydney, Brisbane, and Perth to Doha, they got underway in, I think, June, July, whereas Melbourne to Doha only got off the ground this week. So that is I'm not sure why that has happened, but Virgin Australia is now flying all of its planned flights to Doha on those wet leased Qatar Airways aircraft. or as ChatGPT would probably call them, wet leased Qantas aircraft. We also have some good news on the Gold Coast Pacific Air Show, which is coming back in 2026. Now, this is a show that was cancelled this year because Tropical Cyclone Alfred, you might recall, washed away a hefty proportion of the beaches at the Gold Coast.
And that's where all the crowds
And
go.
that's
Yeah.
where all the crowds go, yeah. So there have been extensive beach remediation efforts. And as a result, the beaches are sort of back to a suitable condition. And the Pacific Air Show Gold Coast will be on at Surfers Paradise from the 14th to the 16th of August next year. I believe Adam and Chris...
I was going to say, you guys will probably be there, right?
well, we haven't gone over the part... We didn't go in 24. I think Adam and Chris went in 2023.
Yeah, I seem to remember that, yeah.
Yeah, we didn't go in 24. And obviously nobody went in 25. But yeah, maybe...
2026, good year to go back.
Good year to go back. If you are a fan of the Gold Coast and or air shows.
Well, 1 out of 2 ain't bad.
Which one are you a fan of?
Well, I'm not a fan of the Gold Coast, so I guess I like air shows.
Fair enough. And we've got an update on the Sky Kitten situation at Brisbane Airport. There is now a new trial to reduce the purring of the Sky Kittens over the suburbs of Brisbane, or as the layman would call it, the noise of aircraft. It's this voluntary trial that basically will allow planes to take off and land in higher tailwinds than before. So it's more difficult to take off into a tailwind. So flights will be permitted for the first 6 months of this 18-month trial to take off in tailwinds of 5 to 10 knots. And this will allow more flights to go out over the water of Moreton Bay, where nobody lives except fish, instead of over the suburbs of Brisbane, where a lot of people live and virtually no fish. Fish are less likely to complain about aircraft going overhead.
Imagine they could.
We have found.
Yeah.
I'm not saying anything, but no.
I feel like there was a thought waiting.
Yeah, there was.
Waiting to go
I
out
decided
there.
against it because we are heading towards the hour mark. There is no need for me to talk about how the average amount of fish in your average neighborhood might be higher than you think as a aquarist myself.
Really?
Anyway, yes.
I didn't know that.
Well, I've got 14 fish in my apartment.
No way.
Yeah, but did they complain about aircraft noise?
Well, I don't know. I never take them out of the water, so they could be bubbling away and I wouldn't know what they're doing.
I mean, talking of astrology...
I am underneath the Sydney Airport flight path, so maybe it's just all they know.
I mean,
Well, I bought them from an aquarium shop in St. Peters, so it could
There you
very well
go.
be all
It's
they
their
know.
life.
That is their background.
That's
knowledge.
kind of sad.
it's are you guys into astrology?
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 Not really. I'm a Leo. That's all I know.
Yeah, no, that's probably about the same, except I'm a Taurus. I don't know. Maybe there was some like freaky thing going on with the stars that made all the aviation go weird on the weekend. Maybe
True.
Mercury was in Gatorade or something. I don't know. But that is about all the time that we have for the Australian Aviation Podcast for today. Thank you to my co-hosts David Hollingworth
Thank you
and
for having
Bethany
us.
Alvaro.
Thank you.
We will be back at the same time next week, but for now, from us, goodbye.